program is brought to you by Beijing Capital Land, leading the way in property development across China, and Feng Tai, the beautiful gateway to Beijing. One of the most spectacular and challenging courses on the international triathlon calendar, and in 4 short years this event has achieved iconic status. Drawing the sport's elite, there have been some outstanding performances by both established and rising stars of the triathlon world. For some, this event has cemented reputations of speed, strength and endurance. For others, it has been the opportunity to compete with the world's best. And with a substantial prize purse on offer, the 5th anniversary is set to be our best race ever. Hello and welcome to the 2016 Beijing International Triathlon. I'm Mark Fuel, and once again a world-class field is going to take on a stunningly beautiful and dramatically challenging course. Joining me this year, former winner of the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon, Terry Schneider.
Mark, this is my first time here in Beijing, and I have to agree with you after reviewing the course. It's beautiful, it's challenging, and it's culturally intriguing. This race is the total package.
And arguably, it's our most competitive field ever. What do you think about the men's race?
We have several Olympians fresh off of Rio. Leading the charge is Alistair Brownlee, who is now a 2-time gold medalist in the sport of triathlon. They're going up against our defending champion, Eric Lagerström, and several other guys who are hungry for the win.
There's also some incredible talent in the women's field.
We have more Olympians in the women's field and our defending champion, Lauren Goss, as well as world champion, 70.3 winner, Holly Lawrence. It's going to be a tough call.
It's been a totally new experience coming to Beijing. I've never been to China before, so it's been really good to see a bit more of the culture, and I'm just going to take it like any other race, and this course suits my strengths, so I'm going to be going for the win, yeah.
This is my first time here in Beijing. I'm looking forward to the race. It's really surprised me with everything the city's had to offer. From an outsider perspective, I didn't expect to be racing through different gardens and small villages. I pictured a big city, and that's not what I found at all.
There's always something going on, and there's someone right in front of you, and people are much closer. It feels like a true race, and on this course particularly, there's so many different sections. What I like is that it goes by so fast. Like, there's not a dull moment.
I've just heard this is a really good, fun, different race to do. You know, it's a mixture of being able to do a race, and you know, there's that side of it, and also being able to have a bit of fun and you know, experience the culture of China as well, which is a fantastic thing.
And you got to just keep your wits about you. I mean, you got to remember this is still China, and you know, the locals are getting more and more familiar with this race. But you still have to be aware that, you know, things can happen, and so you know, it adds to the excitement of it, if anything.
Greg Bennett definitely knows how unpredictable a race can be, and he is the man who has dominated the bike league for the last 3 years. Despite the challenge ahead, Terry, it's always a great atmosphere before the race starts.
The energy is really high, from athletes to spectators. One of the really exciting things about triathlon is that age groupers get to race side by side with the pros.
Speaking of pros, the start list, Eric Lagerström bearing the burden of number 1, but Alistair Brownlee, the 2-time and recently crowned Olympic champion. Greg Bennett, the veteran there, to watch for Cameron Dyke.
Our defending champion is back, Lauren Goss, as well as 2 Olympians, Ashley Gentle and Barbara Viveros, and 70.3 world champion, Holly Lawrence.
This race is so fast with all the good swimmers and ITU girls that you have to swim like an ITU race. So if you miss the swim, the front group, you have not good chance to take the podium. So I'll have to swim as fast as possible.
Every time you race, you need to play to your strengths. So I'll be looking to swim really hard. I know I'll probably have some company from the Olympic champion, but he's the Olympic champ for a reason.
It's flat water, obviously it's a small field, so it's just going to be about getting out there, swimming hard and but controlled for that first 1500 metres.
Not long till race start, and Terry, every athlete has their own way of getting ready.
Mentally, some athletes like to spend a little time by themselves, some like to engage with others around them to draw energy, and some like to just kind of have a peaceful moment in the beautiful surroundings.
Well, with $20,000 going to each winner, this race is about to get serious.
Really serious, Mark. We have flat conditions today, and there are some really fast swimmers in this field.
Beijing Garden Expo Park is a perfect venue, and we have perfect conditions for a very fast race. We had a little bit of rain overnight, which could make things interesting on the bike leg, but the temperature is a little cooler, which the athletes will really enjoy.
The 1.5-kilometer swim will begin from the floating dock around the Garden Expo Park venue. Once swimmers complete the rectangular swim course, they'll exit on the dock ramp before enduring a 680-meter run to the transition area, replicating the run to transition at Escape from Alcatraz.
The weather has cleared to a spectacular day, and the start is not far off. The strongest field we've ever had in 5 years, and the governor of Bang Thai, Mr. G, once again welcoming the world's best to take on this incredibly challenging course. The men have started their 1,500-meter swim, and it's a frantic start.
Mark, you mentioned that we have the best field ever assembled for this event. Well, we have some of the fastest swimmers in the sport. These guys are all vying to get on the feet of someone in front of them and see if they can stay there the entire swim.
The women just 30 seconds behind. They are also eyeing in the distance the first turn count, 700 metres. The men still sprinting, and the women are off.
We have a couple standout swimmers in our women's field. Holly Lawrence just coming off her 70.3 world champion win, and Lauren Goss, our defending champion, likely are going to take this swim off the front.
You can see just how tightly they're bunched together. Let's talk about tactics.
Each athlete's goal is to get on the feet in front of them and stay there. If you're drafting a swimmer, you're going to get a 10% advantage on how fast you can swim. So their goal is to stay in the pack, get on someone's feet, and see if they can hang the entire swim.
Australia's Josh Amberger leading out the men, but he cannot shake Alistair Brownlee off his feet, nor can Holly Lawrence get rid of Lauren Goss.
Holly and Lauren are trying to get away from the rest of the field, and they seem to be doing a pretty darn good job here.
Beautiful stroke there by Holly Lawrence. Lauren Goss just hanging onto her feet. They have already got a gap over the rest of their field.
They've got a really huge gap, and I would imagine they're going to try and work together to keep that distance from the rest of the pack.
Back to the men's race, and Josh Amberger is trying to break this field. Cameron Dye starting to slip off the back, as is Eric Lagerström.
The men are heading for the first turn buoy. They're all thinking about their placement going into this turn. It's really critical to get on the inside without getting caught up in the mayhem of flailing arms and legs.
Greg Bennett, Kevin Collington there, starting to slip off the back a little bit. This will make it tough on them if they're not with the pack coming out of the water.
Even that short bit going around the turn buoy, if you have a slight gap from the front of the pack, it makes it really tough to try and catch back.
Here are the women. Now, this is now the chasing group of three. Ashley Gentle, Barbara Riveros, and Radka Vodikova. There is already quite a gap up to our leader, Holly Lawrence.
It's likely not possible that they're going to catch that front pack. So their goal is to try and maintain their pace as much as possible.
Now at the second turn can, heading towards home. Josh Amberger is leading this out, but he cannot break this men's field. It is so strong this year.
Josh was really hoping to break from the rest of the pack, but it doesn't look like he's going to pull that off.
The women now reaching the first turn can, and that is Holly Lawrence. And right behind her, the defending champion Goss has slipped off. She's now by herself.
Lauren has slipped off the back, but Holly's coming off that 70.3 win just last weekend. Does she have the stamina to pull off this swim?
The age group is now into the water, the same course as the professional field. It's one of the unique aspects of the sport.
Unique and exciting for both pros and amateurs alike. The pros really enjoy racing next to the amateurs in an event like triathlon.
Well, Josh Amberger is not getting any help at all. A beautiful swimmer, but Brownlee is right on his feet, as is Cameron Dye, Eric Lagerstrom, and also Vicente Hernandez from Spain in the mix.
You can see Alistair has a really interesting stroke. Kind of has a galloping effect, but Cam is looking really strong right behind him.
Holly Lawrence extending her lead, but Goss is not giving up. She knows that there's also a long run up to transition, and that's where she took the lead last year.
You can see above water, Holly does not have a classically awesome swim stroke, but she definitely is pulling hard underneath, keeping her head nice and low, but looking ahead intermittently to make sure she's going straight.
Holly Lawrence knows that she is a strength athlete and she likes to lead from the front. This is putting her in a great position.
Putting her in a great position, but again, let's see if she has enough stamina coming off her win last weekend to pull off this swim and carry it through to the bike.
There's some incredible athletes behind her. That is Lauren Goss in the foreground, and behind her, Ashley Gentle, winner here in 2014. Barbara Riveros, who was 5th at the Olympic Games. She's got some speed.
Barbara is really fast on the run and really solid on the bike. It'll be interesting to see how she pulls this out.
Vicente Hernandez at the end of that long train of swimmers. It has just been a tough swim for our leader. He is just putting in every effort, but he's not able to break the rest of the field.
Josh has a beautiful stroke, but Alistair is right behind him. He hasn't been successful in trying to make a gap on the rest of the field.
6 men in this lead pack, and in the distance, Kevin Collington and Greg Bennett have lost a massive amount of time.
They've lost some time, and I can imagine they're trying to think about plan B and what they're going to do at this point strategy-wise.
Holly Lawrence is sticking to her A game, and that is lead from the front. She is powering, and she has extended her lead over our defending champion and the pack of 3, which are frantically chasing down Lauren Goss.
Holly had her head down. It looked like she bumped that buoy, but now she's intermittently looking forward for that float dock.
The men now approaching the swim exit. This gets tricky where you switch from using your upper body to your lower body.
It feels a little strange coming out of the water, even for these top guys, and they're going to come out quickly, one after another. They know they need to get a good run to that transition, try and be the first one there.
Malloy, Lagerstrom, the defending champion, and Vicente Hernandez of Spain are all out of the water. Ashley Gentle of Australia, Olympian and former World Junior Champion, looking very strong. Vodakova of the Czech Republic and Chile's Barbara Riveros are chasing down this woman, and it is Holly Lawrence looking really strong with just 50 metres left to swim.
These women are now looking to lay everything that they have out in the final part of this swim, because what they know is when Holly hits that float dock, she's going to take off running and be moving a lot faster than they are.
Not long to go now, sighting for this finish line, getting herself ready, preparing herself to change her breathing. She knows it's a long runner, a big lead out of the water.
She knows she's got a big lead, Mark, but she's going to look to try and make even a little bit more time on this run. She is not letting down at all.
And our defending champion, Goss, this is exactly what she did last year. She was second out of the water. She ran her way up into first place during this long transition run. Gentle, little bit of a stumble there. Vodakova and also Barbara Riveros are out and onto the run. This is the long 680-metre run up into transition T1, as it's known. And there we can see Joe Malloy of the US is flying.
Joe is flying, and Alistair even Well, look back over his shoulder just a sec. He must have heard Joe's coming, and he is not letting down, even though he knows he's going to be getting on his bike and riding hard in just a few seconds.
Sprinting also up towards the bike area, taking a quick look just to see where her rivals are. This is a big lead for Holly Lawrence. Joe Malloy, a fantastic sprint up to his bike.
The idea here is to get to your bike, whip off your suit as quickly as possible, helmet on, sunglasses on, and then you're out. These guys are leaving their bike shoes on the bicycle, which they'll put on as they're riding from the transition area.
Brownlee, a fantastic transition, a lot of speed. Joe Malloy will be out in second place. Vicente Hernandez, and a slower transition by Cameron Dye, but definitely within striking position. It was a slower run up into transition for Lagerstrom and also for Josh Amberger ahead of him, but he's a strong biker. Nearly a minute down, Kevin Collington.
Kevin's got a lot of work ahead of him to catch these guys ahead. Cam Dye was a little bit slower than the other guys in the transition, but he is expected to be a force to be reckoned with on this bike course.
And it doesn't look like a good day for Greg Bennett.
Greg's having a tough time here, but you know, he's a competitor and he's not going to be giving in.
The swim splits. Amberger led out of the water. Brownlee, Dye, Malloy, Lagerstrom and Hernandez, and nearly a minute gap for Collington and Greg Bennett. Now the women. Holly is in transition and looks very composed.
She looks composed. She had a little struggle getting her suit off, helmet on, and there she goes. She'll put her shoes on as soon as she leaves the transition area.
When you do have a bit of a gap, does it give you time to be a little bit more careful about what you're doing, as we see the defending champion now at a bike?
Lauren's at the bike, helmet on, and she's going to be looking to try and catch Holly, but she knows her cycling prowess is not quite up to speed.
Riveros, a strong run up into transition. Vodakova and Ashley Gentle also at their bike. Gentle won here in 2014, and it was the bike leg where she did the real damage.
Notice how Ashley was putting on her helmet and taking off her suit at the same time.
Holly 41 seconds ahead of Goss. Gentle, Vodakova and Riveros a further 22 seconds back. To Sayre 140 down.